1 minute ago, Britain's transport system changed forever. A quiet weekday train from Doncaster to London became the scene of unimaginable chaos, a mass stabbing on board an LNER service that left 11 people injured and 1 man fighting for his life. But out of that horror emerged a single story of courage, a rail worker who risked everything to protect his passengers. His name, Samir Zitouni, is now on the lips of an entire nation. Just after 9:40 a.m., the northbound Azuma service rolled smoothly through Cambridgeshire. Passengers were checking emails, sipping coffee, scrolling their phones. Then, without warning, screams cut through the carriage. Witnesses say a man pulled out a large knife and began attacking those around him fast, silent, and indiscriminate. Panic spread instantly. Within seconds, what had been a normal journey turned into a nightmare. But in that moment of chaos, 1 man didn't run. Samir Zitouni, a 42-year-old train guard, ran toward the noise. Armed with nothing but a ticket machine and his courage, he shouted for passengers to get behind him. Several witnesses told reporters that he physically shielded a mother and her 2 children, placing himself between them and the attacker. He suffered multiple stab wounds before fellow passengers managed to restrain the assailant. At Huntingdon Station, the train made an emergency stop. Police boarded within minutes. Medics rushed in. Samir lay on the floor, losing blood but still asking paramedics if the passengers were safe. That question, are they safe, has already become a symbol of duty in the face of terror. Within hours, the nation knew his name. Newspapers called him the train hero of Huntingdon. The king himself, through Buckingham Palace, issued a rare personal statement. His Majesty sends his deepest admiration and thanks to the rail employee who displayed extraordinary bravery in protecting others. Across the country, flags at railway depots were lowered to half-mast. But as Britain honors a hero, the questions are multiplying. How did a knife attacker board a high-speed train undetected? Why are security measures on UK railways still so vulnerable despite decades of terror warnings and assaults? Transport unions say they've been warning the government for years that frontline rail staff face increasing aggression from fare disputes to violent assaults, yet safety budgets have been repeatedly cut, and now, the cost of those ignored warnings has been written in blood. For Samir's colleagues, it's personal. At the Doncaster depot, drivers and guards gathered in silence. One rail worker said, "He did what any of us would. Hoped to do stand up for the passengers, but were terrified. It could have been any one of us." The LNER company has pledged full financial support for Samir's family and announced it will name a new Azuma train in his honor once he recovers. That single gesture, a train bearing the name Samir Zitouni, will serve as a moving reminder that ordinary men can do extraordinary things. By the evening, the story reached Westminster. The Transport Secretary, Heidi Alexander, faced MPs demanding answers. "How many warnings will it take?" one Conservative member asked, "before the government secures our trains the way it secures airports?" Opposition leaders echoed the call for an independent investigation. Even within the Labour benches, murmurs began about accountability and the cost of underprotected infrastructure. For a government already under pressure from economic strain and public trust issues, the optics were disastrous. Behind closed doors, Whitehall officials ordered a top-level review of railway policing. British Transport Police have confirmed a 32-year-old suspect remains in custody, facing 11 counts of attempted murder. Security analysts warn that the attack, though isolated, may inspire copycats or embolden extremists looking for soft civilian targets. The message from experts is stark. Britain's rail network is now a front line in domestic security. Across social media, tributes have poured in. Thousands changed their profile pictures to rail worker badges with the words, "Thank you, Samir." Passengers who were on that train are posting first-hand accounts. One woman wrote, "He shouted at us to get down. If he hadn't stepped in, we'd be dead." It's a reminder that courage doesn't come from politics or power. It comes from ordinary people in ordinary jobs who refuse to look away when others are in danger. American and European media have also picked up the story. The New York Times called it a moment of moral clarity in a divided Britain. France's Le Monde described Samir as le héros silencieux du train britannique. For the world watching, Britain's tragedy has become a symbol of humanity's resilience, proof that even in times of fear, compassion still fights back. Now, policymakers face a choice. They can treat this as a tragic anomaly or as a wake-up call, because Britain's public transport system carries millions every day. Yet its security relies on vigilance, not enforcement. No bag checks, no scanners, no visible deterrent. Experts are demanding new legislation to strengthen rail policing, improve CCTV coverage, and provide emergency response training for all frontline staff. If these changes don't come soon, many warn the next tragedy could be worse. As for Samir Zitouni, doctors say he remains in critical but stable condition. Thousands of messages have been sent to Addenbrooke's hospital wishing him strength, among them one handwritten note from a 6-year-old boy who often takes the LNER to visit his grandparents. It reads, "Thank you for saving people. I want to be brave like you when I grow up." Sometimes, the smallest messages carry the biggest truths. Tonight, Britain pauses not just to mourn the victims, but to reflect on what one man's courage reveals about us all. In an age when headlines are full of anger, division, and blame, one railway worker reminded an entire nation what heroism really looks like. He didn't carry a weapon. He carried responsibility, and because of that, dozens of passengers will live to see another day. As dawn rises over London's King's Cross, a nation holds its breath grateful, heartbroken, and inspired. The story of Samir Zitouni isn't just a tragedy, it's a warning and a promise that even when fear strikes from the shadows, courage still rides the rails.